Hey, this is Piers again. I'm doing a quick recording to demonstrate my mechanic for Design 3. And basically, the origin of this was we have an assignment where we have a tile based puzzle game, and everybody in the course has to create their own mechanic from scratch. Um, and my mechanic was pulled kind of from any game where you have to like activate a button or activate like a special key or a passcode or something to get through a door. I wanted to just make a tile that would um, change colors and allow access to a new area. So I'll show you kind of how it works because that's a little bit better than just talking about it. So as you can see here, I have the yellow teleporter tiles, which take you to different locations around the map. But then also, you have red tiles. And these red tiles are my color changers. So as I step on it, boom, it changes the color of a door somewhere else in the level. Uh, Now, once you change the color of the door by activating the color change tile, you can then pass through it. Previously, as you can see here, I cannot move through the red door. So I had a surprising amount of trouble with this mechanic because I was really overthinking it at first. I went through like a lot of different iterations of this where I would try to get the door to delete, get the tile to delete, and it would just continuously crash Unreal Engine because of the rest of the stuff that I was working with. So to make it within the confines of what already existed, it became more about just changing the aspects of the tile itself. So the tile that changes colors is inherited from the regular tile. Um, yes, just the tile blueprint code, and I made it to where it changes colors and it changes the status of the door. Like you set a target of the door, and when you do so, you can change the can enter ability to you can enter it as the player character, whereas as default it's set to you cannot enter. So it's so much simpler than originally I started out to make it. Here, I'll actually show you the code as well. So let me back out of this real quick, as you've kind of seen how it actually works. So here we have color change door, or color tile color change. This is where all the magic happens right here. So the very first thing that occurs is we have on entered. We call the parent on entered to do all of its magic over there. We take our set material, which is our primitive component, which you can see here in the viewport. It's just this, just my little base plane that is colored red. And we're going to change that to vertex color view green. So we change that to green whenever the player steps on it. And then the next step is that we're casting to tile door, which doesn't have any extracurricular code in it. It's just basically a static mesh of the door added into the viewport. That door is red, and right here we're casting to set the can enter status of tile door to checkmark to true. Yes, we can do that now as the player. Um, and then the other thing we do, the last thing we do, is we change the color of the door to match the tile so that the player can see that it is accessible. So without this last little bit here, like targeting the cube component of the door, you wouldn't be able to tell like which door opens or whatever as the player. So that was an essential part too. And like I said, I went through a ton of iterations of this that was crashing out Unreal Engine, like totally overthinking the issue, and I wound up spitting myself out for a little while. But ultimately, we came to this thanks to some help from my classmates, kind of hinting like, "Hey, you need to focus on changing the aspects of the tile, not like creating and deleting new tiles." Because my very first iteration, I tried to make it to where it would delete a tile and then instantly at the same time spawn in a new one at that location. And I was getting into all kinds of weeds trying to figure that stuff out because I would get the tile to finally spawn in and then the player couldn't actually enter it for whatever reason. It was like an unfound tile. There were a lot of issues that we ran into right away with that kind of thing. So I scrapped that whole project basically, and I started over from scratch, just thinking like, okay, what is the simplest and most direct solution to get what I want out of this code? And this is what I came up with right here. So as you can see, it's really not very long, and it doesn't make a whole lot of like calls to other stuff. It's just change it to green, set it to where the player can enter it, and that's it. And that's all we're worried about. Oh, and then change the door, of course, to green as well. And after that, it was kind of a breeze. I don't super have any major bugs or issues right now because it is kind of such a simple mechanic. It's just a matter of, you step on the tile, it changes to green, and then you can access it. In further iterations, I feel like I kind of want to make other mechanics to add into here. I'd like to continue playing and make other stuff. Like, I'd like to make it to where I can put the like blocks on there. Maybe you have to hold a block on, like you have to stay in the space. Like if a player exits the space, then it resets, because that is always a cool mechanic you see in games, like where you have to like figure out how to move the boxes around. I feel like I've seen that in Zelda and a couple other games where you have to do puzzle solving. You always have to put the block in place and keep the pressure on the pressure plate in order to properly pass the level. One thing I really like is that object entities can pass through my doors. I was worried that was going to be a problem at first, but it doesn't seem to matter. Well, and it all resets. If you die on accident, it goes back to normal, so you have to resolve your puzzle again. Anyway, that is the basis of how things work for my mechanic. I look forward to adding more, and this has been a really fun project. Thanks for watching.